If you really step back and look at 2025, one thing becomes very clear. This has been one of the most violent years of the decade. Conflicts have erupted everywhere. Afghanistan-Pakistan tensions, India-Pakistan flashpoints, a separate but dangerous Cambodia-Thailand conflict. And above all, the most explosive event of the year, the 12-day Israel-Iran war, where for the first time in history, the United States directly bombed Iran. That alone makes 2025 a historic year. Now here's the real concern. As we move toward the start of 2026, all indicators suggest we may be heading toward an even bigger war, possibly as early as January or February. There is a very real possibility that Israel and Iran will go to war again, but this time on a much larger scale. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is actively pushing for a decisive final strike, and the core of his strategy is clear: bring the U.S. Air Force fully into the fight for massive bombing of Iran. On December 29, 2025, Netanyahu is scheduled to visit the United States. This is not a routine visit. According to multiple reports, he plans to present a comprehensive plan to Donald Trump, a plan aimed at permanently destroying Iran's missile and nuclear programs. The logic is simple. If Iran is to be stopped forever, a limited strike won't work. What's being discussed is a large-scale, overwhelming assault. Some reports even suggest discussions of hundreds of bombing runs, potentially 500 or more strikes. Now, to be clear, Trump has not officially approved any such plan, but remember what happened last time. During the June 13th to 24th, 2025 war, roughly 1,000 to 1,100 Iranians were killed, numbers widely documented across international sources. On the Israeli side, casualties were reported between 30 and 60. Iran, meanwhile, claims it eliminated over 700 Mossad agents, a claim that fits into a broader pattern we've seen over recent months. Iranian authorities have repeatedly arrested and executed individuals accused of spying for Israel. And make no mistake, this wasn't just an Israel-Iran conflict. The United States was directly involved. Here's the critical point. Before the June 2025 strikes, American media was flooded with reports claiming Trump opposed attacking Iran, that he wanted peace, that he wasn't aligned with Netanyahu. Those reports were not accidental. This is called information warfare. Those narratives reached Iran. Tehran relaxed, even slightly, believing Washington might hold Israel back. And then suddenly, US B-2 bombers appeared, struck Iranian nuclear facilities, and disappeared. It was a brilliantly deceptive military move. This time, however, Iran is unlikely to fall for it again. Iran, Russia, and China are far more alert now. Awareness of planted media leaks has increased significantly. Still, don't be surprised if we see the same pattern repeated. American media claiming Trump wants peace, followed by sudden military action. The big question everyone asks is, will Russia and China step in to defend Iran? In many ways, they already are. Russia has reportedly been providing intelligence support to Iran. Recently, Israeli authorities arrested a Russian citizen working in Israel, accusing him of spying for Iran. That case alone hints at a much larger intelligence war happening behind the scenes. There are also reports suggesting Chinese and Russian operatives have been detained in Israel and Syria, accused of collecting sensitive military information, missile storage locations, Air Force movements, attack plans, all intended to help Iran prepare. Meanwhile, US-Israel relations are set to grow even stronger under Trump. Trump has openly stated that Israel's lobbying power in Washington used to be at its strongest, and that he wants to restore that dominance. He has criticized rising anti-Israel voices in Congress and signaled a clear shift back toward unconditional support. As long as Trump remains in power, Israel will have unprecedented backing from the United States. Don't be shocked if, in the coming years, we see new pro-Israel legislation, massive funding packages, or an entirely new strategic framework announced. Something big is coming. And the impact won't be limited to the Middle East. India will be affected too. Iran is critical for India's trade routes, rice exports, and the north-south transport corridor connecting India to Russia, a project the US strongly wants to block. From oil markets to regional security to nuclear proliferation, every major US geopolitical interest points toward neutralizing Iran, which is why, despite all the talk of peace, the chances of Donald Trump winning a Nobel Peace Prize look slim. If anything, history may remember him as one of the most war-driven US presidents. The coming months could bring fear, market instability, and global panic. And if that happens, you can be sure updates will keep coming, because something big is coming. If you're asking whether Russia and China will step in when Iran is attacked again, the honest answer is this: they already have. just not in the way people expect. This isn't about Russian or Chinese fighter jets flying over Tehran, at least not yet. This is about intelligence warfare, shadow operations, and silent preparation, and the evidence is already out in the open. Recently, Israeli authorities arrested a Russian citizen inside Israel, officially accusing him of spying on behalf of Iran. Think about that for a moment. A Russian national operating within Israel, allegedly feeding intelligence directly to Tehran. That alone tells you how serious this has become. And this is just the case that made it to the media. Multiple reports suggest that Russian and Chinese operatives have been detained not only in Israel, but also in Syria, accused of gathering extremely sensitive military data, missile storage locations, Air Force deployment patterns, and even potential Israeli attack plans. Why does this matter? Because this intelligence isn't being collected for academic interest. It's being collected to prepare Iran for the next strike. Russia and China understand something very clearly. If Iran falls, the entire regional balance collapses, and US dominance expands uncontested. So while Washington and Tel Aviv plan openly, Moscow and Beijing work quietly. Now let's zoom out for a second. Under Donald Trump, US-Israel relations are not just strong, they're accelerating. Trump has said it himself openly and bluntly. Israel's lobbying power in Washington used to be unmatched. In recent years, it declined, and he wants to bring it back stronger than ever. He has criticized what he calls the rise of anti-Israel sentiment in Congress. He has openly targeted lawmakers who oppose Israel, and his message is clear: the old alliance is back. And it's going to be louder, faster, and more aggressive. As long as Trump is in power, Israel will enjoy near total political, military, and diplomatic backing from the United States. And that's why you should not be surprised if in the near future we see massive new funding packages for Israel pro-Israel legislation pushed aggressively through Congress, or even an entirely new US-led strategic doctrine for the Middle East. Something big is coming. That much is obvious. But here's what most American audiences don't fully realize yet. This war won't stay limited to the Middle East. The coming months are going to be tense, unpredictable, and dangerous.